hinted a cabinet reshuffle in the near future. And now the news in full. A year at the helm of the administration saw Madani's government make a paradigm shift through radical initiatives seen as necessary to restructure the economy. This includes subsidy rationalization measures, in addition to a focus on digital transformation and energy transition. Speaking at the Malay College Kuala Kangsar Ex-Students Association Makoba annual dinner in Kuala Lumpur last night, Prime Minister Datuk Sri Anwar Ibrahim emphasized the importance of holistic education that can produce human capital to meet the needs of the future.
Dalam isu microchips bersetuju untuk bukan sahaja labur 25 bilion ringgit tetapi labur dalam front end of the technology. Baik, kalau Infineon labur dalam front end of the technology, yang kita harus tumpukan ialah mutu pendidikan kita harus lebih tinggi. Kalau tidak, kita tidak upaya memenuhi keperluan mereka.
Datuk Sri Anwar also insisted that the dignity of Malay as the national language will continue to be strengthened without negating the importance of mastering other languages in order to increase competitiveness.
Pendidikan kita memerlukan lonjakan. Memang benar, dalam beberapa bulan ini saya tekankan keperluan mempertahankan penguasaan bahasa Melayu yang baik di kalangan semua rakyat. Tetapi dalam masa yang sama, sejak bulan lalu dan untuk tahun 2024, saya telah arahkan Kementerian Pendidikan berusaha dengan lebih untuk mengangkat minat dan mutu penguasaan bahasa Inggeris di kalangan pelajar.
At the same event, the Prime Minister continued to hint at the possibility of a cabinet reshuffle in the near future.
Dan dalam masa singkat, saya akan adakan sedikit sebanyak reshuffle untuk adakan satu pasukan dan lebih kuat. Saya akan lebih bebas dan tegas menarik teknokrat atau pakar-pakar untuk membantu kementerian dan saya tidak akan tolak ansur dalam isu tata kelola dan cita-cita kita untuk angkat martabat negara ini supaya menjadi negara hebat di rantau ini.
Earlier at the Madani government one-year anniversary program at the National Stadium in Bukit Jalil, Datuk Sri Anwar stressed Malaysia is very upset with and opposes the actions of the United States to veto the United Nations Security Council resolution that calls for an immediate ceasefire in the conflict between Israel and Palestine. He added on behalf of Malaysia, he also regretted the attitude of the US, which still defends the acts of killing children without restriction in Gaza.
I would like on behalf of the Malaysian government strongly condemn and protest against the decision of the United States to oppose fire in the Security Council. I mean, notwithstanding all other arguments have suggested, we must stop the killing of innocent civilians, babies and women. And there is no reason, absolutely no basis for anyone to deny this and to frustrate the process. And therefore, really unfortunately, I'm deeply saddened by this outrageous decision.
The Premier was commenting on the action of the US on Friday when it vetoed the UN's resolution that demanded an immediate ceasefire in the conflict between Israel and Hamas in Gaza, thus breaking the growing push for an immediate ceasefire that is led by UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres and the Arab countries. Meanwhile, in response to the US blocking a United Nations resolution calling for a ceasefire in Gaza, Turkish President Recep Tayyip Erdogan calls for reform with the UN. Erdogan reacts during a Human Rights Day event in Istanbul on Saturday. With America's veto, there was no ceasefire decision again, adding that it is essential to reform the UN and the United Nations Security Council. The US on Friday vetoed a Security Council resolution calling for an immediate ceasefire in the intense fighting between Israel and Hamas in Gaza. Washington thus dashed a growing clamor for a halt to fighting that had been led by UN Chief Antonio Guterres and Arab nations. The UN resolution for a ceasefire was submitted more than 2 months after the start of the war in Gaza on October 7th. In the United Kingdom, thousands of protesters marched through central London in support of Palestinian people as demonstrations enter a third month since the beginning of the conflict in Gaza. Met by AFP, Noor Masala describes the conflict